Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L. Tutoring Central, and this Friday I'm talking about commas. 4 uses of commas to be exact. And there are many uses of the comma, so this is not going to cover all of them. But some of my students have asked me to go into a little more about punctuation, and I want to touch on some of the main uses of a comma. Now, a really general rule is that if you're reading your sentence and you pause in the middle of your sentence somewhere, you probably need a comma. But that won't work in every case because maybe it's the end of a sentence. You need to see if you needed end punctuation there. Perhaps it's a semicolon or some other combination of punctuation you need. But nevertheless, it's a good general rule that if you're pausing, you may need a comma, and it's a good place to start checking. Now let's look at 4 uses of the comma. This one probably a lot of you know. You need commas in a series. So you want to separate items in a series of 3 or more. If you only have 2 items, you don't need a comma. And you can use this to separate single words. For example, there were cats, comma, dogs, comma, and kangaroos in the living room. Okay, a little strange to have kangaroos in your living room. However, in this sentence, we have 3 items in the series, so we need 2 commas. And I do recommend putting a comma before the and in almost all cases, unless the 2 items are really closely related, for example, salt and pepper. Then you can separate phrases. He ran to the store, comma, bought ice cream, comma, and ate all of it before getting home. So again, we have 3 items here. You can have 4 or more, but each one is separated with a comma, and these are phrases. Or you could have clauses separated by commas. Everyone agreed that your facts are accurate, comma, that your report is well written, comma, and that your decisions are reasonable. So here you have 3 clauses in a row, and they're separated by commas. Another very useful place to use a comma is to separate introductory words or word groups. Generally, clauses and phrases that act as adverbs, in other words, telling you when, where, how, why, or under what conditions, are going to be separated with a comma. But other clauses and phrases can be as well. Near the river, comma, we found a lot of garbage and 1 or 2 treasures. After the fire, there were so many displaced people that the hotels opened their doors for free. So here you see we have word groups at the beginning. They're not really essential to the main sentence, and so they should be separated with a comma. Also, some participial phrases, for example, excited to see the show, Dan and Marie were at the theater 3 hours early. So here again, this word group at the beginning is not essential to the main part of the sentence. And it could be confusing if you don't have the comma in place here. The reader needs a little bit of a pause there before reading the main structure. You also want to use a comma to separate independent clauses, in other words, sentences, when joined with a coordinating conjunction. Now, if you're not sure what independent clauses are, you should take my basic English writing course because it goes into more detail, or my paragraph writing course, and there will be details about that at the end of this video or underneath this video if you're watching it on YouTube. And the coordinating conjunctions, there are 7 of them in English, and there they are: and, but, or, nor, for, so, and yet. So, in other words, if you have 2 complete sentences and you're joining them with one of these words, you need a comma before the coordinating conjunction. The tree fell during the storm, comma, and it slammed into the car below. Now here you have 2 complete sentences. The tree fell during the storm. You could have put a period there. And the second sentence, it slammed into the car below. Again, you have a subject, you have a predicate. So this could be a complete sentence by itself. So you need that comma before the and. Everyone wanted to play, comma, but the coach never arrived with the ball. Again, 2 complete sentences, this time joined with but. Tim was very good at baseball, comma, yet he never won the most valuable player award. So you can see again there are 2 complete sentences and so we need a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Now the last use of the comma I'm going to talk about in this video are commas with non-restrictive clauses, phrases, appositives, and parenthetical expressions. Now I put them all together and it sounds a bit complicated, but the main idea is that if it isn't essential to your main structure or your main sentence, then you can often separate it with commas, and in some cases you need to separate it with commas to avoid confusion. Now, the first example here, Toronto, which is a city in Ontario, is the largest city in Canada. Now, this is a non-restrictive clause, or it could be seen as an appositive. It's giving further information about Toronto, telling us it's a city in Ontario, but it isn't really necessary or essential to the meaning. Sebastian, a freshman, has very long hair. Now, a freshman is just an appositive. It's simply giving us a little more information about Sebastian, but we really don't need to know that about him. We just want the main sentence. This is just additional. And you notice that you put commas around in the front and in the back of these expressions when they're in the middle of a sentence. He had one desire, namely to succeed. So again, here we have just a parenthetical expression, namely, and it should be separated out with commas. We need to pause there. So don't get too excited about all the terminology. Just recognize that if it's a non-essential word group, often it does require commas. Back again, just to give you some contact information, but also to say, don't be afraid of using commas or any kind of punctuation. Keep writing, keep practicing. That's how we learn. Take some lessons from me or a course or two. Check out the website or check the links below. Sometimes having a tutor, getting some feedback can be the best way to make improvement, and I have some great writing courses or lessons for that. Also, don't forget to subscribe or like or make a comment or ask a question. I can answer it on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook or anywhere really, tell me your favorite way to use commas, or ask a question about whether or not you should use a comma or how to use a comma, because there are so many places you can use it. So let me know. And there's my contact information. The website is www.tutoringcentral.com, and the email is tutoringcentral@hotmail.com. So you can always email me, check out the website. Lots of ways to get in touch. So in the meantime, keep writing, keep learning, and keep having fun.